What's up? I'm Nate from Nate's Records, coming at you from my record room. It's Saturday evening, there's a blizzard outside, and I'm going to talk about some records. First, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Nate Markham. I sell records out of an antique store, and I set up a booth at record shows and sell my records. A little about myself. I grew up in Michigan. I started DJing vinyl in 1999. Dug records all over Michigan, Flint, Detroit, East Lansing, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, Traverse City. You know, I've dug records for decades. I've DJed for decades. But I just recently got into selling records, and this has enabled me to start buying more records, more unique records, more expensive records. And I actually listen to them, all the good ones, stuff that I want to listen to. I'll sit and I'll listen to records for hours. I read the back of the record, the inside of the gatefold. I love watching jazz interviews. And I have an education in music. I went to the University of Michigan, Flint. I studied philosophy. I studied music, including jazz music and rock music, hip hop music. I also went to the community college in the town where I live, West Shore Community College. I went there for philosophy and music as well. Took a bunch of music courses. I've been doing music and records and all this a long time. I want to get into these records now. These are records that I'm actually not going to sell. They're kind of messed up. They're VG covers with good vinyl. I only sell VG Plus and up covers. So if I get a cool record, this War is actually not too bad, but if I get a good record with a messed up cover, I'm keeping it. War, The World is a Ghetto. You see War as a band. This is a really cool cover. This is a great album. The World is a Ghetto, released in 1972. It's like funk and soul mixed together perfectly, you know. It's really deeply funky. It's a great record. And we'll stick with the funk. Tower of Power. This is 72 as well. Bump City. I just listened to this. There's some standout tracks on it. You Got the Funkifies was probably the good one. Flash in the Pan. Also deeply funky. And the thing with Tower of Power is their horn section. It's a big band. It's like 10 people in the band, and they have all different kinds of horns. You know, all the instruments you can think of. They create a wall of sound. They're great. This is a compilation of Prestige recordings. Prestige is one of the main jazz labels that released a ton of different jazz. This is a 2 LP set, and it's a compilation of early Prestige recordings. And I'm kind of glad it's messed up. You can see it's torn. I can repair this. I'll repair this, but I'm going to keep it. You see some of the artists. This would be an expensive record if it weren't beat up. Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk, Dolphy, Rollins, Charlie Parker, Mos Allison, Coltrane, Yusef Lateef. I just listened to it, and man, there are a lot of cuts on this. Prestige 24,000 series. Wonder why they use the number 24,000. Glad to have that in my collection. This Yusef Lateef. And when I was listening to it, I just thought, yep, it's a Yusef Lateef record. Very creative. Yusef on the oboe. What's the year? I didn't get a year on it. This is off Prestige. It's a 2 LP. Oh, classic Lateef. This is a cool Davis compilation. It's in poor condition. There's a bunch of French writing on the back. It's early recordings. One side is recorded in LA, 28th of March, 1946. Side B, New York, November 4, 1947. Let's read the lineup. Side A, in March 46, we have Charlie Parker, really. Lucky Thompson, Dodo Marsoda, I said that wrong, on percussion. Arv Garrison, Victor McMillan, Roy Porter. I don't know too much about this incarnation of his band. 46 was pretty early for Miles Davis. And 47, we have Parker in the band. Was this isn't Miles Davis's band. Maybe it is. Or these are recorded. Yardbird Suite. Now, see, these are Charlie Parker songs. Moose the Mooch. There's a couple Parker songs. This is a compilation of early Davis recordings. Scrapple from the Apple is Parker as well. At any rate, it was a really good record. If you like early bebop Miles Davis. Pharoah Sanders, The Best Of. If you like Pharoah Sanders' style, this is it. And I think that it has some, honestly, jazz masterpieces on here. Hum Allah. I listened to the whole thing. It's like a 20-minute song, but I think it's a jazz masterpiece. The Creator Has a Master Plan has a similar vibe. The whole album, I think the whole album is a prayer. It's like a prayer. Similar to Coltrane, Love Supreme. The way they blend, I think one of the keys to Pharoah Sanders is the way they blend the piano and the guitar. It kind of sets itself as a canvas for the rest of the band. They have horns and percussion and all kinds of creative instruments. The guitar and the piano really set the stage. Here's a live Miles Davis. The recording quality on this was pretty good. What year it was, I read all of this. I like to stand there while I'm listening to the record and read it. I like music to be like an active process that I have to participate in. I like to work a little bit for my music. This is a demo version, not for sale. And I remember reading this whole thing and it didn't have a year. It has Walkin' on it. Walkin' was a early first quintet recording. It doesn't even have the lineup of musicians on it, but it does have a cool story about the Black Hawk Club in San Francisco, one of the earliest jazz nightclubs, the earliest on the West Coast and longest running in the country. And it tells a funny story, a widely known story about Miles Davis is that he would turn his back on the audience, and they talk about this in the liner notes here. And I saw a documentary or an interview of Miles Davis where he spoke on why he turns his back on the audience. And he doesn't mean it as an insult to the audience at all. He means it to say he would be doing this without the audience. Whether or not the audience was there, he would be playing music. He doesn't care if the audience is there. He's playing music. The music is more important. And the band was more important, you know. Another Davis, Jack Johnson. I had this in the booth, but I pulled it out because I had better miles to go in. It's in beat up condition. Jack Johnson is a soundtrack. It's a soundtrack to a movie about Jack Johnson, the boxer. You can see Jack Johnson pictured on the back. And it's rock fusion, jazz fusion with rock. It's one of his earlier fusion, too. If I'm not mistaken, does Jack Johnson come before Bitches Brew? Man, I'd have to look. I can't remember. Monk's Dream, Thelonious Monk. This, I think it was 61. Maybe it was 62, but it's his first release on Columbia Records. Not his first release, but his first release on Columbia Records. And it's classic Monk with his dynamic and dissonant, discordant style. What I mean by dynamic is I was watching a live performance from Monk, and you could really see some of his technique. He's very heavy-handed and deliberate on the treble side. He knows what notes he's hitting, and he plucks out those notes in staccato fashion. But on his left hand, he's just kind of pushing, and he's soft. So that's the dynamics of it. He's loud and staccato over here, and he's softer on his bass hand. All right, thanks for peeping those records with me. Peace. Hey, if you like watching these videos, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and turn on your notifications so you see all of my new posts. I love doing these things, and I like to connect with the people who watch these. I'll always answer stuff in the comments. You can find me on Facebook. It's just Nate's Records. You'll see Manistee in the title, Manistee, Michigan. You can find me there. Hit me up. Peace.